Walk into the department store you grew up with, and the racks are full of names you've never heard of. House labels that exist only in that store, at brand name prices. That's the warning sign. Saks Fifth Avenue does it at luxury prices, and its parent filed for bankruptcy in January. 10 department stores ranked worst to best by what you actually get for your money. You've felt it without naming it. The anchor store from your childhood, half the lights off. Racks of labels you don't recognize where the real brands used to hang. A 60% off sign faded from hanging so long. That wasn't your imagination. Department store sales have fallen 62% since 1992, while the rest of retail tripled. Here's the tell that explains it. And the best store left is a name most of the country has never heard of. Number 1. Saks Fifth Avenue. The worst value in American retail right now, and here's the plain fact. Its parent, Saks Global, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in January 2026. This is a store still charging genuine luxury prices, 4 figures for a suit, hundreds for a shirt, while the company behind it missed a $100 million debt payment and ran out of room. Now think like the man at the register, because that's all that matters here. When you buy a suit at a store in bankruptcy, every ordinary promise wobbles. Will the alterations department finish your trousers before the location closes? Will your gift card be honored? Will the store take a return in 90 days? Or will that door be dark? Luxury pricing is supposed to buy certainty. The service, the standing behind the sale. Saks is charging for certainty it can no longer guarantee. That's the trade being made without telling you. You still pay the premium that was supposed to cover the standing behind the sale. You just no longer receive the part you were paying for. That's the definition of the worst value. Paying the most for the least security. A $400 shirt from a stable store and a $400 shirt from a store in Chapter 11 are not the same purchase, even if the shirt is identical. The name over the door still says luxury. The filing says otherwise. And understand how a store behaves inside a bankruptcy, because it affects the rack in front of you. Buying slows, inventory thins. The brands with leverage pull their goods or demand cash up front. What's left on the floor is whatever the store could still get, which is the opposite of the curated luxury assortment you're paying for. We read the filing, not the marble. And the next name looks like Saks's competitor, except it isn't. One quick thing, and it's the one you've been asking for. You wanted the whole method in one place. Well, here it is. My new guide, Build a $2,000 Wardrobe for $200. Every rule from this channel. No logos, no fluff. The link is below. Go build it. Number 2. Neiman Marcus. Here's the insider fact that pops the illusion. Neiman Marcus is not Saks's competitor. It's Saks's sibling. Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, and Bergdorf Goodman are all owned by Saks Global, the same company in the same January 2026 bankruptcy. 3 of the most famous luxury names in America, 1 owner, 1 filing. So when you comparison shop the high end, walking from a Neiman's to a Saks, thinking you're weighing 2 rivals, you're looking at 2 storefronts of the same troubled parent. There's no competition protecting your money there, because there's no competitor. Competition is what forces a store to earn you. Better buyers, better service, sharper pricing. Remove it, and what's left is a company that only has to be tolerable at 2 addresses instead of 1. The prices stay luxury tier. The stability is identical, which is to say, uncertain, for the man buying a serious suit or a gift. That matters enormously. You cannot escape one company's trouble by crossing them all to its other nameplate. The choice at the top of the market is mostly signage, and that consolidation happened fast. These were genuine rivals for a century, each with its own buyers, its own taste, its own reason to fight for your money. One acquisition erased that. Now the same office decides what hangs in both, which means the competition that used to sharpen both stores simply isn't there anymore. And the debt that pulled the whole group under came largely from Saks buying Neiman in the first place, the sibling that helped sink the family. We read the owner, not the name on the awning. The next store didn't just fill up with house labels, it married them. Number 3. JCPenney. Here's the comparison that tells the whole story of this list. In January 2025, JCPenney merged into a company called Catalyst Brands, combining the store with Brooks Brothers, Eddie Bauer, Nautica, Aeropostale, and Lucky Brand under one owner. Stop and see what that means. The store and the brands on its own racks are now the same company, When a house you shop fills its floor with labels it also owns. The brand on the shirt is just another arm of the retailer. No independent maker, no outside reputation, no one to answer to but the store itself. And the warning is written in what happened next to those siblings. Forever 21, part of that portfolio, liquidated all 354 of its U.S. stores by April 2025, and Eddie Bauer filed Chapter 11 in February 2026. Two of the brands under the same roof collapsed within a year. That's not a coincidence of bad luck. It's what happens when brands built by separate makers with separate reputations get pooled into one balance sheet and managed for cash. JCPenney itself keeps closing locations as leases expire. So the man walking in for a dress shirt is increasingly choosing among labels owned by the struggling store selling them. And you can check this yourself in about 10 seconds. Take the brand name off the collar and search it. If it only sells at that one retailer, it isn't a brand. It's a house label with a brand's haircut. That's not a department store carrying brands. That's a holding company wearing a storefront. And the practical loss for you is real. When a shirt carries a name owned by the store selling it, there's no outside maker whose reputation depends on that shirt holding up. Nobody gets embarrassed. Nobody loses a wholesale account. The only accountability left is whether you come back, and they're betting the price tag handles that. The house label was the warning. We read the ownership, not the aisle sign. The next one raised half this audience, so I'll be careful with it. Number 4, Macy's. Credit is owed first because this one is personal for a lot of you. Founded in 1858, the Thanksgiving Parade, the flagship on 34th Street, for generations, Macy's was the anchor of American shopping, the store where men bought their first real suit and their fathers bought theirs. That heritage is genuine and it deserves respect before the hard part. Here's the hard part. Macy's is closing roughly 150 stores through 2026. 66 in 2025 alone, more announced after. It's the last major department store still publicly owned and out of family hands. And that ownership structure is exactly why it behaves the way it does, answering to shareholders quarter by quarter, which pushes it toward private label goods to protect margin and toward closing the underperforming stores that anchor smaller towns. For the shopper, the closures are the real signal. Whether your local Macy's, the one that's been there 30 years, survives the list, and whether the tailor who's hemmed your pants for a decade still has a counter to work at. The brands are still real for now. The question is, how many doors stay open? And notice which stores go first in a program like this. Not the flagship in a wealthy suburb, the anchor in the smaller market, the one that's the last full clothing floor within an hour's drive. For a lot of men watching this, the closure list isn't an abstraction. It's whether you now shop online or drive 90 minutes to try on a jacket. We read the closure list, not the parade. The next one is Macy's under a fancier name. Number 5, Bloomingdales. Here's the comparison, and it's the exact same trick as the luxury tier. Bloomingdales is owned by Macy's. Same parent, higher prices, same playbook. You walk into a Bloomingdales expecting a step up from Macy's, better brands, better floor. And some of that is real at the very top end. But the ownership is identical, which means the strategy driving it is identical. Shareholder pressure, margin protection, the same corporate hand deciding what fills the racks. You're paying a premium over Macy's for a store run by Macy's. It's the second nameplate move we saw with Saks and Neiman, the appearance of a more exclusive choice, sold by the same company that owns the mainstream one, for the man deciding where to spend more. That's the thing to know. The higher price at Bloomingdale's isn't buying you a fundamentally different company's judgment. It's the same parent, a nicer bag. That's not to say there's nothing better there. The top of the Bloomingdale's assortment genuinely does carry brands Macy's doesn't. The point is narrower and more useful. You're not escaping a company's strategy by paying more at its other nameplate. If the private label creep bothers you at Macy's, the same corporate logic is running the floor upstairs. We read the parent, not the prestige. Now the store that made the sale sign permanent. Number 6, Kohl's. Here's the question that matters at the register. What is that sale price actually measuring? Because Kohl's built its whole model on the never-ending markdown, the 60% off that's somehow always on. The Kohl's Cash, the doorbuster that runs every week. A discount that never ends isn't a discount. It's the real price wearing a costume. The garment is worth what it's made of, not what the yellow tag claims it was marked down from. And Kohl's leans heavily on its own private label brands, filling the floor. House names that exist only there, which means you can't price check them anywhere else, and no outside maker stands behind them. Add the 27 stores it announced closing, and the picture for the shopper is clear. You're paying a manufactured sale price on store brand goods at a chain that's shrinking. There are real national brands mixed in, and those can be worth it on a genuine markdown. That's the practical move here. Walk past the house labels entirely. Find a national brand you already know the real price of and judge the discount against that number instead of the one on the tag. But the permanent sale theater is designed to make you feel like you won before you've read a single label. That's the real cost of it. Every minute you spend calculating a discount is a minute you're not spending reading a fabric content tag, and the store knows exactly which of those two habits protects your money. The house label was the warning. We read the fabric, not the markdown. The next one actually earns part of its price. Number 7. Nordstrom. Here's the verdict, and it's a qualified pass. The first real one on this list. Nordstrom sells genuine national brands across categories, and it built a legitimate reputation on two things men actually value: service and returns. Skilled alterations. A no-drama return policy. Staff who know the floor. That service model is a real product, and when you're buying a suit that needs tailoring or a piece you might send back, it has genuine worth. The honest caveats. Nordstrom is closing full-line stores and has gone private, so the footprint is shrinking, and you should check that your local full-line store, not just the off-price rack, is staying open, and you are paying for that service in the price if all you want is the lowest number on a known brand. You can often beat Nordstrom elsewhere, but if you value a store that stands behind the sale and hems the trousers right, this is where the money starts buying something real again, and service is a genuine spec, not a soft one. An alterations department that gets a jacket right is the difference between a suit that fits and an expensive suit that doesn't. And the number of stores still employing people who can do that is shrinking every year. We read the service, not the storefront count. The next three are the ones that never forgot what a department store is for. Number 8, Boscov's. A little history because this one's remarkable. Boscov's has been family-owned since 1918, started by an immigrant peddler in Reading, Pennsylvania. And here's the part that matters. While the giants close stores by the dozen, Boscov's is expanding. Let that land. In a format that's shed 62% of its sales in a generation, a family-owned regional chain is opening doors, not shutting them and picking up the anchor spaces the giants abandoned. Expansion in a collapsing category is the loudest possible statement that the old model still works when somebody actually runs it. And it does it the old way, selling an assortment of real national brands across broad categories, which is the literal definition of an actual department store that most of this list abandoned. For the shopper, expansion is the tell you can trust. A store betting its own money on staying open will be there for your return, your exchange, your alteration next year. No shareholder pressure, forcing it to gut the floor for private label. Just a family business, selling other people's brands and keeping the lights on. It's not glamorous. That's exactly why it works. There's no reinvention here, no rebrand, no consultant-driven repositioning, just the same proposition it made a century ago, run by people whose name is on the building and who therefore cannot walk away from a bad quarter. We read the brands on the rack, not the size of the chain. The next one turned being boring into a fortress. Number 9, Dillards. Here's the number that stops you. While every other department store bled out, Dillards, family-controlled, around 270 stores, kept its sales essentially flat for 15 years and let its cash pile nearly quadruple past $1 billion. In fiscal 2025, it closed exactly one store. One. The trade press nicknamed it Dillards for being unflashy, unfashionable, allergic to hype. And that is precisely why it survived. Dillards refused to chase scale, refused to pile on debt, refused to reinvent itself into oblivion. It just kept selling real national brands, conservatively, and banked the difference. No debt-funded expansion, no reinvention, No private label land grab to juice a quarter. For the man at the register, that boring stability is the product. This is a store that will unquestionably be there next season for your return, your warranty, your gift card. The brands are real, and you can price check them because they exist elsewhere, which is the single most useful thing a store can offer you. In a dying format, the company that did the least exciting thing is the one you can count on most. Think about what $1 billion in cash actually means to you at the register. It means no pressure to gut the assortment for margin, no desperate private label push, no fire sale to make a debt payment. A store that doesn't need your money urgently is a store that can afford to sell you something good. We read the balance behind the counter, not the fashion of the floor. And the best of them all is the one you've probably never set foot in. Number 10. Von Maur. Here's the winner, and it's the name most of the country has never heard of. Von Maur is family-owned, founded in 1872 in Davenport, Iowa, about 152 years in business, running roughly 38 stores across 16 states. Newsweek named it America's best department store 3 years running. And it earned that doing every boring, expensive, old-fashioned thing the giants cut as a cost line. It sells real national brands. It offers no-interest charge accounts. It gift wraps for free. It staffs the floor with people who serve you. Every one of those is a cost the public companies cut, one at a time, because each looked like a line item rather than the reason anyone walked in. It is, in other words, a department store run the way department stores were run before they decided the customer was an expense. The stores that swapped real brands for their own labels to protect margin are dying. The one that kept selling other people's brands and taking care of the man at the register is the best one left. The best department store in America isn't the most famous. It's the one that never forgot what the job was. And you can test everything in this video against it. The house label was the warning, and this is what its absence looks like. We read the service and the brands, not the fame of the name. So here's the whole thing. Read the rack for real national brands you can price check anywhere. Read who owns the building, because half the competitors are one company. And read whether the label exists anywhere else, because if it only lives in that store, you're paying department store prices for store brand goods. The house label was the warning, and now you know how to spot it. The name over the door never told you what was inside it. The racks always did, and the guide so many of you asked for is finally here. Build a $2,000 wardrobe for $200. Every rule from this channel, in one place, linked below. If this one made you look twice at your local mall, watch the men's clothing brands robbing you blind. 370,000 views. And the clothing built to last a lifetime, 199,000 views. The same read the label method for your whole wardrobe. Subscribe. This channel reads the build, not the marketing.